Okay, to go.
You have schools there?
As mighty armies clash in a struggle for total domination,
Fine. I'll do it. Fine.
Go back.
I'll do it myself.
I absolutely love it.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Nice.
Anyway,
To do it.
Nice.
I worked
You
all
really
night,
got the
all night last night
best-
on that, and I said, you know what? I had to add him in there somewhere. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do that.
Oh, that's so fucking cool.
You really got the best shot of me, didn't you? Like,
I did. I was thinking of that exact moment. I said, I know what video that's in, and I'm gonna capture that right there. Pick up that bar.
God damn it! This is what you get when you put your face in the fucking internet. People will screenshot it and make memes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Should have
That's why I
photoshopped
stay
that dick
unknown.
going in.
Some people are smart enough not to. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
So
yeah. Who could do that? Who are the two smart guys on this stream? Yeah, who knows?
I even had to lock out my. Okay, so I can't swear yet, basically. So I had to lock down my IG because I had some stalkers and people basically, threatening to do some nasty stuff to me.
I convert you to Christianity and bring freedom, things like
I
that.
wish they were actually basically like actively trying to dox me to find where I live, where do I work.
damn.
man, I hate
I
people like that.
I told one of them it wouldn't be in your best interest to do that. First of all, if I go the legal route, you're gonna be jailed for trying to dox me,
Yeah.
threatening me, and the other way, if it escalates to violence, like, dude, I'm probably like bigger than you, and I have weapons.
well, I
I know how
would,
to use them.
I would just say, hey, my people will fly a plane into your building. So you just don't.
We did it once. We could do it again.
Yeah, just don't push it. Your house is nothing.
My cousin was there,
apartment
so
smelling of cat urine and stale wine is nothing to me. So yeah.
Gosh, yeah.
Hi, everybody.
So on that happy
Yeah. What a start, right? Well,
Inshallah.
here we are, episode 3, right? Of Culture Warriors. Woohoo! And got 2 extra guys in there. I love it. Yeah. See? This is how it starts, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Salam
Five
alaikum.
guys walk into a bar. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. All at the same time.
Yeah, bartender says, "Get the fuck out." Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell
For
you guys
anybody
right
that
now,
doesn't know, everybody should introduce each other. Start from Jack, Hawk, Robert, and then Chad of Arabia down there. Let's go.
Nice. So I am the most handsome man in the manosphere. My name is Jack Napier, and I was invited here to level things out when it comes to looks, since the rest here are so ugly that they have to stay anon. So that's why I'm here.
All right. Well, God, how could I top that one? My God, the handsomest man in the manosphere.
I know.
Well, you know what? How about this? I'm the straightest guy in the manosphere. I'm the least gay. How about that?
Whoa.
I know where you went to high school, so that's not true.
Absolutely. Of course, I am Red
Dig it.
Hawk. Coming up on in a couple hours after this, we got a Man's Hour coming up. I have no idea what topic is. It's a pain in the ass booking people for shows. I'll figure something out, but that's where you guys can find me. And I am just the resident hunter of the manosphere and political right-wing extraordinaire. So
instead of extremist, it's now extraordinaire. Good to know.
yeah,
Yes.
it's something.
But the difference a small change can make.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll remember it when I run for office. Yeah.
Me too, when my title's finally true.
Nice.
Yeah, you're governor. Yeah, exactly. All right. I pass the torch to Robert.
Oh, okay. I'm Robert Kuzlin. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, those kind of places. I am the collector, the archivist, the guy here who's so handsome that I've got at least four sons by 3 different women. So make of that what you will. When everybody else is showing their receipts, I've got that. So there you go.
Fornicator.
Kids, get in here.
God said, "Go forth and multiply." I did. There you go.
That's right.
So with that in mind,
Yeah. So
Our
I'm basically
resident
a fat,
paladin.
sexless dork who never got laid in his life, and I don't know what kind of other names they call me. And it's all true if they want to believe it. But other than that, I'm just a shit poster on Twitter who enjoys pissing people off and getting them banned and exposing their grifts, basically. But yeah, all jokes aside, uh, I have a lot of hobbies. Basically, it's all nerdy hobbies. Robert, he saw my collection of action figures, basically super robots, and Jack and Governor, they know I play video games a lot, and I
Really?
like women at the same time. And
Wait
I
a
think
minute.
I'm very
That
good
can
with that.
happen?
Yes, and they like
Yeah.
me.
They really like me. Oh.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Topic that I finally decided to choose at the very end of it all was the attack on attractive women. Because if you notice in Hollywood and all other forms of media, movies, games, whatever, they're taking women that are otherwise attractive and they're making them almost either manly in personality or appearance. Now I'm noticing it's almost become a pattern. And I don't know if you guys have seen the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 poster recently, or if we might have shared it earlier in the group chat.
Was
Jack
that a
and
real
Hawk.
poster?
Yes, it was real. It's real. If you look at
Are you
it's not even
serious?
just yes, it's not even Karen Gillan's character alone who they should have never
Jesus.
touched. That's my woman they should have never touched. But that it's not just
Genuinely,
her either.
a
It's
Christian. Like,
it's
I'm saying
it's
Jesus Christ because of that.
yeah, it's not even just her. It's friggin' all three girls on the covers. None of them have any kind of chest at all. Like they kind of just look like they all wore chest binders, and they have no curves to them whatsoever. They're shaped like 3-liter bottles of Coke, just straight down like
Yeah.
that. And so I call them Coke bottle bodies, but not the good kind.
Mm,
Haram, man.
And
That's haram.
yeah.
yes,
Haram.
absolutely. And I've tried to look through and just do a little bit of research, and I made sure it was real and it wasn't just photoshopped. And I thought they just took their heads and cropped them on a man's body. That's all it looks like. Somebody said it looks like that Nebula looks like Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins. And I thought, yeah, I can't see it any way up. Yeah.
That horrible voice.
Is that how you imitate a
God.
woman?
No, that's
Yeah,
Billy Corgan.
Yeah.
I don't know the lyrics to any Smashing Pumpkins song. Yeah, like I was like, God,
Yeah,
God.
that's about all I can hear too. Gosh,
The
yeah.
90s
I
sucked.
literally thought that picture was fake and photoshopped. Like now, I'm super sad.
Yeah, if you look up Guardians of the Galaxy 3, just look it up, click images, and it'll show you like news articles sharing it and posting it and showing the whole entire picture, and it's absolutely real. And I went, no way. Like
That's why we
it's
need a new crusade and Islamic conquest. Like we need to keep people busy, basically.
I mean, from
Or 2 or 3.
a Christian man myself, I'm completely actually, with that idea by now. Just like, you know what, go for it. Take us, whatever. I don't care anymore.
Like, did you guys see that tweet that Nerdrotic and guys like that did? How they compared the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 poster to Guardians of the Galaxy 3? And there's just this
Yeah.
huge, stark difference between like the attractiveness of the actress of Nebula in part 1 and now in part 3, where it's just like a 12-year-old boy with a sweatshirt or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
the world is a vampire. That's the one I was looking for.
And that's
Fucking
all I
Billy
know to that
Corgan.
song. But yeah, it's frustrating to look at because, like I said, I noticed a pattern of it just happening a lot lately too. If you we also talked about this too. The Last of Us, the girl that's playing Ellie, she talked about wearing a chest minder 90% of the time. And I thought, I understand she's playing a younger girl or something, but the fact that she's bragging about it and talking about it like it's like, look at something I did. I'm thinking I can't help but wonder if it's all done on purpose anyway.
Yeah, it's all
Just,
virtue signaling, dude.
Yeah.
They're just,
Yeah.
so if you think
Yeah.
about it, it's just they're placating to these people basically to
Mhm.
make more.
Who's they?
you know, the they them zerber
Yeah.
Yeah.
The alphabet people. Yeah.
The Rainbow
Yeah.
Riders.
Mhm.
Rainbow.
The ABCs. Yeah,
the
totally.
Yeah.
ABCs, the LGHTTV.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
funny. Like you do bring up a good point, though. I mean, like we just saw this with the unfortunate passing of Raquel Welch yesterday.
Mhm.
Sadly, what a gorgeous woman. But we really just have nothing like that these days for our young guys coming up. It's like throw the guys a bone, please. You know, like the last one I could really think about who really got like sexualized, I guess you would say would be like Scarlett Johansson and maybe Margot Robbie to an extent. Like that's basically it.
Mhm.
Like you think of anybody else in a major movie recently that even has like cleavage even hanging out to some extent. You know, this is absurd.
Yeah.
Why do all the women look like dudes?
It's like breasts
like
are a
the
threat now.
The last remaining one is, in my humble opinion, Sydney Sweeney. Is the last real attractive Hollywood actress right now.
That's
Well, I
what
mean, we
it
got
Like
depends.
I make jokes about Anya, like with her like the suction and whatever
Yeah,
that's
she's been
called.
attacked by a vampire. Yeah.
Yeah, she really has been attacked by a vampire, but like that there's not much on that body. I do find her presentation is attractive, but there's not much there. And the same what Hollywood pushes forward now with like that Sedenya chick and girls like that, where it's like,
Oh,
look,
Zendaya.
yeah, Zendaya,
Yeah.
whatever.
Who was,
Zendaya,
yeah,
Zendaya, potato,
who was who's the fucking actress that that played Catwoman in the most recent Batman movie, the Matt Reeves one?
Oh,
The chick with the really short hair.
Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh, she was
Lenny Kravitz's
gender
daughter.
neutral.
Really? Wow, I didn't know that. I guess it makes sense though. But yeah, it's like the completely ridiculously, almost like buzz cut, you know, short hair. You know, like just looks like she works for the Department of Motor Vehicles and is going to give you shit.
So, you see, and I hate that because Zoe Kravitz can look good. There are moments where she used to look really good before she started making herself look more like a dude. And try as she might, she's not going to look like her dad, Lenny. So sorry, but you know, she. I've always thought that when they said that she was going to be Catwoman at first, I was like, and then I thought, well, she could pull an attractive Catwoman off, but she didn't even try that. It was, we got to show these white men what's up, and you know. Because she almost quote for quote when she said that.
Would have went if she would have went the Eartha Kitt route.
Yeah,
she wasn't Eartha Kitt or Eartha Kitt like in any way, shape, or form. You know, nor was she like Lee Merriweather or Julie Newmar. You know, keeping it all bound to the '60s era of Batman. All three of them presented very different versions of Catwoman within the context of that series and the movie they made from that series. All of them were very different. All of them were very unique. All three of the actresses brought something different to the part. Every single one of them was, you know, utterly desirable, and you can understand Batman's temptation, you know, either to let her go free or unpunished for her crimes, or you know, his desire for her. And that was definitely a part of that character. She was a femme fatale, that type of bad girl villain, which comes straight out of you know, the pulps, and which is appropriate since Batman was ripped off from the Shadow. But that's a whole other topic of conversation. And if you want, Razor Fist, I know, has done at least a video on it, and you can you know, go watch that. I'm not going to rehash that stuff here. But yeah, but it's not about that. The one thing, which is the most important thing about all females, is their sexuality, and that is the one thing that has to be eliminated from all the actresses and all the parts, just like masculinity has to be eliminated from all the male heroes. You know, you can't have that strong-jawed, stoic, noble beast of a man who does the right thing for the right reason because that's just his character. You know, they all have to be effeminate, navel gazing, and And I'll get people talking about, well, Captain America, he was, buff and this, that, and the other. And it's like, he was no John Wayne. And I mean, and I don't mean that in the sense as to arguing whether or not, Chris Evans is a better actor than John Wayne or anything like that. I'm just talking about the presentation. John Wayne stepped into a frame of film, and you knew he was a force to be reckoned with. And you also knew he was the good guy, even when you can argue in at least one of his films, he was playing a more nuanced and gray and in The Searchers, it's a very different kind of John Wayne. You don't necessarily get that from any of these other actors. And what's sad is you certainly don't if they're American actors, because you have to get someone from Canada or from Europe in particular, somewhere in Great Britain or Eastern Europe, to get a masculine, ennobled, even close to looking guy for any part. I mean, half the members of Easy Company in the TV miniseries Band of Brothers were from the UK, and they're all playing American soldiers from all over the United States. And the actual actors are from England and Scotland and Ireland, and but that's where you have to go to get the guys. And
that's like Cavill is British as well, right? And Christian
Mm-hmm.
Bale, Hemsworth is Australian. You've got Chris
Hiddleston.
Pratt is an American. Oh,
Yeah, he's
sorry.
American. Yeah.
Tom Hiddleston. Yeah, but Tom Hiddleston, I mean, don't get me wrong, is a great Loki, but he's not like peak physical masculinity or whatever, right? He's more of a dandyish kind of guy.
Well, and Brendan Fraser is, I think, part Canadian, but he has like Canadian parents, but he was actually born in my hometown of Indianapolis.
Nice.
So he's technically an American, but his parents were Canadian. And obviously the Brendan Fraser of right now is not necessarily the Brendan Fraser of those two Mummy movies, but you have him drop a few pounds and do some lifting, and you could very easily have a heroic looking Brendan Fraser to do another Mummy movie if you wrote one that was actually worthwhile, or anything else. I mean, some of my favorite parts in the whole Mummy movie is actually his time in the French Foreign Legion, because I absolutely love those kind of soldiering tales, whether it's a movie based on Beau Jest, or something like The Four Feathers, not the most recent version of that movie, but one of the older ones. But just the idea of that one, because you have very masculine men from very different backgrounds, both educated and otherwise. You also have stories that touch upon the concept of brotherhood, and men's relationships with other men, and that hierarchy that men have within their social groups and our social dynamics, which are very, very different than women. And and that kind of stuff is missing unless you are like me and a collector, an archivist, and you track that crap down and you add it to your home. I don't have to worry about hate watching Velma.
It's getting a second season because of the fucking hate.
Yes, yeah.
Of course it is. It checks all the right boxes. It pisses off all the right people. It doesn't matter that it's absolute junk. It doesn't matter that they're not making money off of it. It's not about that.
It's about
socialism or capitalism, or which capitalism is about making money. Communism isn't. What boxes does it check off? It checks off that end of the political spectrum. It checks off that end of the social revolution. that, you know, Mao and Pol Pot would be absolutely proud with. They're just waiting for more and more bodies to stack up. And I don't know if enough toxins and pollutants get into the water table here in the Midwest in the Ohio River, thanks to the train wreck out in Ohio, you know, stack
I'm
the
sure.
bodies like cordwood.
I'm sure the
like-
government is telling the truth on that one, Robert.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They certainly did in
Oh,
Tuskegee,
totally.
Mhm.
didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Hey,
those
Robert.
syphilis cases, the Tuskegee experiment. Yeah, they're.
Oh, my.
How about the children of thalidomide? Those of you look that up from the Billy Joe lyrics.
Oh, nice. But hey, Robert, you mentioned like the mummy, and speaking about attractive women, Evie, in that moment.
Oh,
In that
absolutely.
moment, Eve. Holy shit! I can't remember the actress's her name. Unfortunately, she was replaced in the Dragon Emperor, but in the Mummy 1 and 2,
Mhm.
that was an absolute gorgeous woman to look at.
I believe
Not
she's
even
married
like
to James
hot or
Bond.
whatever, but she just looked great.
Yeah, I believe she is married to James Bond.
So
Really?
I do have a
If
question
I
for you
remember
guys.
correctly. Sure.
So
I
now
will not
women-
convert to Islam.
No, that's a work in progress, my friend. That's like that's with the 2030 vision of Saudi Arabia. I'm gonna
No.
convert all of you to Islam. Like we have 72 virgins.
No.
So
I believe you.
But do you have Bugattis?
no, we have one-time use vest only. So
Oh, okay.
there's that.
I've had
Anyways, so-
3 so far.
What color is your
So now,
virgin?
Yeah, they were all white. But
Anyway.
one was blonde, and the other 2 were brunettes. One was Italian too.
Oh. Those are pretty
anyway,
nice.
well-
I've had one Italian where I'm like, oh god.
all of mine were brunettes, man.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yes.
It's like your part of the
yes.
world, though, right? Like everyone's a brunette, right?
yeah, I mean, now you want me to be
Yeah.
racist, mate.
No, I mean, okay. So, joking aside, yes, there's a huge population, and most of them are brunettes, but we got some mixed bloods. So you could find some of the blondes over here, but those are very rare. But yeah, the majority are just brunettes, and they just dye their hairs. So, anyways, so now with okay, so I did the grave mistake of watching The Matrix.
The newest one?
Resurrection. Yeah,
Oh,
yesterday.
ugh.
Like I needed to see it. Like I've tried to push it as much as I can, but I needed to see. It was a burning trash, man. It just got a dumpster fire basically.
Hmm.
So this got me thinking. All of these women, with you guys been talking about them and how ugly they are right now. So do you think that's why? That's because they have the lack of a masculine figure in their life? I don't know. Maybe
Oh,
it's the
no.
writer.
No, I just think, in my humble opinion, and we were talking about Rule Zero last week about this, but I truly think it is number one, a lack of experience of Hollywood writers
Yeah.
and just a hatred of anything beautiful. There is one thing in this world that absolutely hates beauty, and that is hideousness. And you see that time and 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 time again, where it's like ugly, malformed, inbred retards just hate so much on a certain look, on a certain exterior, that they want everybody to hate it so they will feel better about themselves.
That's kind of what influenced this episode too, is that kind of thought process, is that it's an attack on beauty in a sense by those that are hideous, like you said, by those that are
not even girls, but look at animation in and of itself. Western animation.
Yeah.
Name me one
all the
thing
same.
that is just worth looking at. It is utter, absolute garbage. The
All looks the
animation
same.
of the 1930s and 40s, maybe up until Lion King 90s, is gorgeous. We live like 30 years later, and it all looks like cheap cut and paste, utter garbage.
No, it's certainly nowhere close to what was it, Max Fleischer did. If you look up the Fleischer Superman animation and the Superman and the Fleischer Popeye cartoons, just the art in it is gorgeous. The animation is amazingly intricate and
Yeah.
detailed, and
Yeah.
it's just absolutely wonderful.
I love the way that it's very
yeah,
clean
and
and like
everything is this-
shadowed well and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And everything now is this stupid, ugly Cal art stuff. But I mean, it all ties back. Why do you think feminism exists? Beyond its roots in Marxist theory, which goes all the way back to Seneca Falls, if not earlier, but if you do the research into it, a beautiful woman does not have to do much to get what she wants in life because she can use that beauty.
Yes.
She can use her looks to parlay it into getting what she wants. That is her soft power, right? Guess what? Ugly women don't have that.
Nope.
And ugly
No, they
women
don't.
hate beautiful women. The only thing
Yes.
ugly women hate more than men or the patriarchy or anything like that is other women, especially other women that are attractive, because that one
Robert?
thing women have, they do not have. So they need to
Yep.
have some way of leveling that playing field. And you have feminism, and that's what it's there for.
So,
I mean,
Robert,
Yeah.
go ahead, Mish.
sorry, I typed in the private chat something so you guys can see it. Okay,
Mhm.
so what I do in life for the past
Right.
2 decades,
Mhm.
and even for like in the recent events now, in the recent 6 months, whenever I try to recruit a beautiful young lady that's in her early 20s
For work reasons, of course.
for like okay, so like the thing is when I'm working, I don't even like care about how they look. Surprisingly, if it's there, that's a plus. If it doesn't, like I don't care. Like I'm hiring for skills.
Mhm.
So whenever I find a young, beautiful woman with amazing potential, okay, and I truly test these people, you know, to show their potential. The CEO, who's a lady, says no. I'm like, okay, give me a justification why. She says, I don't like her. Like, why? Give me a reason. She says, I don't like the way she looks. That's not a reason to reject somebody. Literally, like I've
Yep.
whenever I try to push, because we need people with skills. So whenever I try to push, they accused me twice of having sexual affairs with these women. I'm like,
It's ridiculous, right?
I wish, but I don't share what I eat. That's my
Yeah.
golden rule. I
Yeah.
don't share what I eat.
Mm-hmm.
I wish. And they're amazing young ladies in their early 20s, and they're very hot. They're very talented,
Mhm.
and they deserve a
Mm.
chance.
Mm.
But yeah, you get like a 35, 36-year-old woman, or maybe 40s. She's so bitter that she doesn't want, young ladies taking all the light, from her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's funny you mentioned this because a person who talks about this a lot is a guy, Bronze Age Pervert. He brings this up a lot, and he uses the example of Aristophanes, who was this playwright in 5th century BC Athens, and one of the plays he wrote was Assembly Women. And basically, the point of this play, it's a comedy, of course, and all the women are given free reign to rule over Athens. And the very first law that the women of Athens put into practice is they have to force all of the young men to have sex with all the older women, to not have sex with the younger women. It's the very first law they enact. And this guy was, woke to feminism 2,500 years ago. And it basically is entirely true. It's like the revenge of like the old spinster, ugly women, to exact revenge on the younger attractive ones.
Yep.
I mean, but this whole red pill stuff isn't new. I remember reading Aristotle, and he even in the beginning mentioned something like politics and law is for men and must be excluded. No, and women and children must be excluded, for they only care about the feelings of matter and not
Right.
like the actual
Not the
cause of it
substance
or
matter.
whatever.
Well, why do you think every major world religion has a prohibition about women being in charge of the religion?
Yeah. And
I mean,
look who
there's
failed.
a reason. This isn't this wisdom, this knowledge or awareness of what scientifically, factually is, did not spring into existence when Rollo Tomasi sprung forth from the head of Zeus fully formed. That's not how it came about. And that's not a knock on Rollo. I could say the same thing about Ryan, and it would not be a knock on Ryan.
Hook.
Of course.
They are
Yeah.
absolutely, they are absolutely, and they do it in different ways for different reasons and from different angles. I mean, the thing I like about Rollo is the fact that it's like, here's the data.
Yeah.
Draw, in some ways, draw your own conclusions, but here is the data. This is what the most recent data tells us. And here's a collection of data over a long period of time, and it's all telling you the same thing. And here's where things change and what happened here to change things, what things were introduced into our society, into our culture, in medicine, technology, what happened to change things or cause this shift. And that's what I like about it. But the underlying fundamental wisdom was always there. And every man worth his salt who was writing anything about whether it was a philosopher or a playwright or a poet or a religious figure, whether we're talking a messianic figure, whether we're talking Jesus or whether we're talking Muhammad, whether we're talking Moses, it doesn't matter. The truth of it was there and understood for a long time because we'd been around a long enough time. And if you're just going strictly by the science and not the theology, men and women, Homo sapiens sapien, we are one species. Male and female are the two halves of that one species. Yes, we are more alike than we are different.
Yes.
That is in comparison to a male this or a female that. Absolutely. But despite the similarities that we all share from being Homo sapiens sapien, male Homo sapiens sapiens are vastly different than female Homo sapiens sapiens. And that is a good thing. As Rollo says, that is a feature, not a bug. The differences between the two, we are complementary. We are supposed to be. That's how our civilization not only continues to exist, but that's how we survive as a species. And oh, by the way, the primary function of every living thing is to survive.
I wonder who the first guy was who figured out how to brainwash people. I mean, that must have been some evil motherfucker. Where it's like, hey, wait a minute. I have this thing called ideology, or at least that's what I'm going to call it. And it makes people go against their nature. Like, holy shit. Like, Hawk, you're the historian here. Like, is there any record on when that started to show up?
Yeah.
Because like Rome fell because of like the immigration and shit like that, and they had the promiscuity with different preferences.
Yeah, history doesn't necessarily repeat. It just follows the same tone. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this shit's been going on for forever. I'm sure there was some caveman that came up with like lying. As
Cave Lenin.
Yeah, exactly. As a crafty way to subvert the workers or some shit. He's like that guy's putting in too much work to slay that mammoth. It's unfair. It's just part of who we are.
But the beauty about it was like back then you just starved. It's like, hey, you wanna be a leech? How about no? Go fuck yourself. Have fun dying.
Yeah, you would in the past only like the consequences would only be about you and the people immediately around you. And now it's like, because there's the internet, the consequences are, now you can convince some, teenage boy to cut his dick off. It's strange times.
Oh, here we go. Yes, I was right. So, governor, Could you go to that writer's page and go to Nicole Perlman and show a photo of her? So, like,
Oh,
Hawk, you
she'd be
mentioned
repulsive.
you mentioned the play that was written when Athens was ruled by women. They would have the
Dude.
young men have sex with old women. And I figured that, wait a minute, these Hollywood writers, a lot of this shit these days is being written by women. So I asked
it's all
Governor to
self-inserts.
well, I asked Governor to look up the writing staff of Guardians 3 and just look at the girls, and there's your answer why they're like making the women in that unattractive.
Why'd
See
you
it
make me
right
look
there.
at this?
Oh man, just look
Ugh.
at her. Yeah, the short hair. Oh my god. Yeah, I pulled it up on a separate
Let's
link
see.
here.
That's an instant dick softener, man.
Yeah.
And the rest is just ugly guys and James Gunn, who has a
Yeah.
different sexual preference than women, I heard.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier. This is kind of what happens, like after 100, years of Hollywood, basically, it's become a managerial institution now. It's not a, individual. It's not a creative space anymore. It's just run by managers. And when it's run by managers, their goal is just to, make profit. And the best way to make profit is just, the only way to make a forest equal is with an axe. So just get it down to the least common denominator possible. I think this is a big reason why we don't have like movie stars anymore. We just have characters. Now it's like Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. I want to go see an Iron Man movie. I don't want to go see a Robert Downey Jr. movie or a Chris Evans movie. Like there's no, Humphrey Bogarts anymore. There's no, even like Michael Caine or, I don't know, even like George Clooney to an extent, or, Bruce Willis, like any of these guys who are actual, actors, like, oh, I want to see a movie that they are in. Now it's just completely managered, slop.
I have to say,
we don't have a John Ford or a Howard Hawks anymore.
Well, I have to say, Robert Downey Jr. for me was kind of a guy like that. I was like, oh, a movie with Robert Downey Jr. That's interesting because I thought he, yeah, that's the writer for Guardians 3. It's like, there she is.
Anyway,
but Downey Jr. to me was a pretty cool guy, and now he aged like 40 years and 5 months because he turned vegan or something. It's like, holy shit! And they made him iron deficiency, man. That was so funny. He turned into iron deficiency, man.
I think another thing too is like it's almost like a blending of the classes, so to speak. Like your actors of old, like your John Waynes and stuff, were just removed from the general peasantry, I guess, for lack of a better word. And now that like Chris Evans has a Twitter account, he's just like another normal stupid lefty that everyone could just like dunk on for stupid opinions. It kind of gets rid of the regality of him, so to speak. So they're basically just us now.
Well, they were always just us, and in fact, let's go back a little over 100 years now, and they were less than us. If you were an entertainer in the late 1800s, early 1900s, you basically on the social hierarchy of Western civilization were basically one rung above prostitute if you were an entertainer or performer. I mean, it wasn't an ennobled profession. It wasn't something honest people do. At the carnies and hucksters are and people who sell themselves in performing. So it wasn't revered. It wasn't looked high upon. When
because they're lying, basically. Nobody reveres lying and acting.
No, it's just pretending. And the thing is, I mean, that's pretending is something every child at least used to do before, parents started plugging them into their game consoles and left them there to be babysat. Going out and pretending was how you figured things out and how you learned to do certain things. And some people were better at it than others. Some people enjoy it more than others. That impromptu, that spontaneity is a wonderful thing as a child and can be an enjoyable thing if you can parlay it as an adult into some kind of career. But it wasn't until the 1930s and 40s and stuff that we really started propping these people up on pedestals, and it starts with the publications and the head of Harper's and those kind of people who you know, started to basically use these people to sell the products that they were in to make money for the studios. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And it cracks me up when I hear people take a dig at things like the novelization of Dune, you know, where you have, you know, the emperors of the universe and various dukes and barons and so forth, this feudal system of government, and how, you know, the idea in the far off future of human civilization, you would regress to a period of feudalism, and some people just couldn't wrap their head around it. And I'm like, well, what do you think with all the idiots trying to embrace Marxism is, if that isn't a type of feudalism, worse even than actual, you know, Western feudalism, insofar as, you know, being a serf in France or in England. But you know, there are lots of humans are in some ways designed to be lazy, to spend as little effort as is necessary to survive, because in order for us to survive at one period in time, in one period in history, for a long period of that history, it took a lot of effort to get the food and the calories you needed to continue to exist, to protect yourself in the environment in which you lived, and to mate with enough females to reproduce so that your biological essence could continue to exist. It took a lot. So doing more than was needed when it's that hard getting the calories is not recommended. So we're designed to not have to do that. Now we live in 2023 at a period of time that is, you know, it has never been easier in human history to exist, to survive. You don't have to work hard. You don't really have to work at all. And if you figure out the angles, you can just continue to exist, and you can do so comfortably with cable TV or satellite TV or your Netflix and your frozen pizzas, and you can sit there on the couch and do very little, and you can eke out 50, 60 years, and it's like amazing. It's never been
life
that easy.
Life truly has become more like existing than it has become living.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've been there before.
Meaningless.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, and you're not encouraged to.
Oh.
I mean, the last thing on earth I would say any major world government wants from its people is for them, you know, doing something more than just existing or surviving. The idea of them thriving, the idea of them living lives of dynamic purpose is counter to anything the government wants. Because if you've got a bunch of individuals who are trying to live truly their best lives, to make an impact on the world around them, and I'm not talking about the you know, the defective chromosome inbred Greta Thunbergs of the world who are doing whatever their moms who never got to be quite as famous as they wanted to be, or doing Munchausen by proxy with their kids to get that dopamine fix. But I mean, actually doing something where I am creating something, I am making something. It has an impact on my family. It has an impact on my neighborhood. It has an impact on my society. It acquires me wealth. It acquires me some level of respect or notoriety. It acquires me some level of power. Oh my God. I don't want that. I'm a politician. I would actually have to work for a living if people were like that. People were half paying attention to what I was doing. I would have to do something, and no politician wants that. They want. I've got a job where I make $100,000 a year, and in 2 years I'm a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
Any guesses how that happened?
Hey, Nancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How them stocks doing?
Yeah. But I mean, yeah. If I tell you guys, hey, one of the people I sleep with is an executive with a major airline, and this is going to happen, So if you guys have any stock in this airline or this airline, man, I'd make a couple of purchases, or I would sell some of this. And I mean, from a friend, from me to you guys as friends, I would do this. Guess what? I go to jail. You guys go to jail. Those of you in other parts of the world may have ways in and around that. But those of us who live in this country all go to jail.
Yeah.
And oh, yeah, the chick I'm sleeping with goes to jail. but guess what? If you're sitting on the right committee and in the right level of government, state, local, and federal, well, you don't.
I mean, but that's the thing, right? It has,
But
it is rules for thee, but not for me,
Mhm.
and that is all the law has become these days. The law is just a tool for executives to use against the Commonwealth,
Mhm.
while they can just go against it. It is look, it is not for the to keep the peace or whatever. It's just to keep people in line. That's it. In all
Congress-
honesty.
That's what I was
that
going
the
to say.
Congress of the United States can pass a law from which they and or their staff are exempt from that law
Yeah.
should be unconstitutional. Every American
Yeah.
citizen should be up in arms with the pitchforks, with the torches, with the tar and the feather. Because in what world does that make sense? That's like mommy and daddy saying, you guys can't smoke, you guys can't drink, but mommy and daddy are going to do it. Well, that's fine with mom and dad when it's the parents taking care of the kids. But guess what? I'm not Nancy Pelosi's kid. If I was, I would be in some multi-million-dollar job, probably in the Ukraine or somewhere, or some other country I've never even been to, let alone step foot in their corporate office. But I'd still be cashing that paycheck, and so would mom and dad. So
But
That's
we
always-
have that
that's
in the
always-
Netherlands now, where like, oh, we've come down hard on smoking, but isn't it time for us to come down on drinking? It's like, dude, look, I'm not a huge drinker. I will be very honest in that, and I've been open about that. I've had my problems with nicotine in the past, but I'm like, if people want to do it, let them fucking do it. Stop holding everybody's goddamn hand and telling
It's-
them what they can and can't do.
It's this pathological femininity that has been infected in all portions of our society, largely because most of the women in our Western countries don't have children of their own to direct this energy towards, and instead decide to infect it in the rest of our societies and take away all the fun out of it. I mean, it's no coincidence that the original like temperance movements were just an outgrowth of the feminist movement. And of course, they were all done by fat, ugly spinster women. It's like it never was an attractive woman that was saying, "Oh, let's ban alcohol."
yeah,
is,
those
Red-
lips that touch alcohol shall never touch mine. It's like, lady, I wouldn't
You
touch
wish.
you with Jack's lips, let alone mine. I just-
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what was that again? Like, females on sex strike. It's like, honey, stop making your necessity a virtue. It's not gonna happen.
Mhm.
All right,
It's
so
like,
I'm
what
gonna
happened to
disagree
just
with
calling
Red Hot,
ugly
right?
chicks ugly? What happened to that? Well, it's like, bitch, you're ugly. Nobody wants to shag you. Shut the fuck up. It's like, what a good time to be alive. It's like, yeah,
What were you
Oh, the
saying,
better
Mish?
times.
yeah. Mish, go ahead.
So I'm gonna disagree a bit with Red Hawk. I do agree to an extent that childless women who are not busy, basically fulfilling whatever God created them to do, can be something destructive. But from my experience, and I'm only talking from my own experience, even if the woman doesn't have a child, but she's fulfilled, she wouldn't turn the way that Western women that we see online, the ones who are very loud, basically the Karens,
Mm.
in my experience.
Politicians.
Because because I've had that before. Like, even if it's the woman, it's 30 plus years old,
Mhm.
if she had a good man in her life, basically, who's a masculine type of man, she wouldn't fall out of line. She wouldn't do all that kind of bullshit. But again, that's my own experience. That's like me and the women in my life. Like, I've had girls from 19 years old to Jesus, the oldest one I had was 44.
Mm.
None of these chicks, and mind you, all of them were feminists, by the way. Okay, but they still wore the sluttiest, things that a woman can wear for a man when they were with me. They cooked for me. They cleaned. They gave me massages. They did everything. I don't know, dude. Sometimes just you think about it, like maybe the issue, that the man himself, maybe he doesn't know how to deal with the woman. Sometimes they need to
Mhm.
say no. Sometimes they need to be a little
Yeah.
bit of assholes. A child. Yes, I do agree to an extent. Like a child is needed to fulfill that need that she wants in her life. But then
Mhm.
again, in my experience,
Yeah, and I guess we're kind of talking about the same thing, just in a different context, in the sense
yeah,
of they do have that need, but at the same time, it's kind of like a chicken or the egg thing. Is like,
mm,
is it the dude that has to channel that energy properly, preferably through a child or through just a good masculine presence in the relationship?
yeah,
And yeah, that's
Mhm.
it's 100% true. I mean, men absolutely have handed the reins of power over to women for a multitude of fucking stupid reasons.
Mhm.
And that basically put us where we are now.
yep.
I keep finding this hilarious. And Ali and I, who was it? Was it Ali and I, or was it Ryan and I today? Then my third
Oh,
podcast.
you were busy today,
You,
man.
you couldn't
Yeah.
remember
I
which
was
woman you're
busy.
talking to, Ryan or Allie?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, well, which Latino was it? But
The one, the one
ah,
with tits, or the one with the anyway?
I
Yeah,
mean, Ryan
figure it
can
out.
shed a couple pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, no, but where it's okay, women now have the reins of power and they're earning their money and things like that. Yeah, that was Ali who I was talking to with that about, where it's like, look, honey, babe, dear, sugar tits, if you want to have a career and make your own damn money, go a goddamn head. Yet here we have guys keep complaining about, oh, I need to earn money and I need to have a stable job. They can make their own money. When is this
Yes.
finally gonna get through your thick fucking skulls that
Mhm.
women these days can work
Mhm.
themselves, and they probably will themselves? You are no longer the caretaker. Get that out of your fucking head. We have given them the reins. They are using it. They are having fun with it. And you can now sit back and be nothing more than be her source of indignation. Be the fun guy and
But they're not
work.
actually having fun
And
with
you
it.
should be a luxury
That's
item,
the
by the
Mhm.
thing.
way. If
Yes,
she's
men
working, she
should be a
should
luxury
spoil you.
item.
Mhm.
She should fucking spoil you, and that's what's happening,
Mm.
honestly. If like all the women in my life who worked, they fucking spoiled me, man. Like now in Valentine's Day, like I've been receiving gifts. I don't know who the fuck sent them to me. I just
There you
like
go.
literally
Yeah.
my office. I will take a picture tomorrow of my office and share it with you guys. Like there's a bouquet of flowers and there's a plant and there's like some candy. I don't know who the fuck sent that to me. Do I care?
Huh.
No.
Mm.
It's free gifts. Somebody likes me, sent it to me, and it's driving the women in the office crazy. They're asking
Mhm.
who sent this to you. I'm being honest. I said I don't know. There's no name.
Mhm.
Mm.
You should be a luxury
Mhm.
item. You should treat yourself as a luxury item. If they want to be in your presence, they should, you know, at least you need to reach a point where they actually need to work hard to please you.
You are the Louis Vuitton bag.
Hmm.
Exactly.
That's what you are. You are the nice pair of shoes, the fucking bag, the hair extensions, whatever.
Mhm.
And be glad you are. You don't need a high paying job anymore. You don't need
You
the
don't.
latest
Yeah.
iPhone.
And they don't need to know how much you're making. You,
Yeah,
they,
that
they,
for
and
sure.
they
That.
don't
Mhm.
care. Honestly, like I've had only one chick who asked me how much I was making, but that chick, like on the first coffee date, she told me that she took a year off from everything and she had a 6 vacation for 365 days.
Mhm.
You
Wow.
you don't say that on the first date, okay?
No.
Mm.
Like I immediately knew
No.
that it was a red flag, and she said, "I'm not
Mhm.
gonna be with someone who's making less money than me. How much you're making?" I told her, "Look, listen, babe, I'm making this X amount, which is way below what I was making." I told her, like,
Mhm.
I have debts and I'm very poor, and this car I just took it from a friend. It's not even my car. I'm like, I just wanted to get the hell out of there.
Mhm.
Mm.
Like,
Like
how
I
much
just
do you
I
earn?
just sent
Enough.
back a picture.
Mhm.
Oh, you sent me a picture? Let me
Yeah,
see.
so that's what happened
Uh-oh.
when a lady spoils you.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Me knowing you is gonna be, oh god.
Yeah.
I do remember like my ex, like every chance she got to buy me something, she'd just buy it. I never asked for anything. It's like, you like chocolate, right? I bought you chocolate. I'm like, honey, I'm like working on a competition. It's like, but you like chocolate. It's like, yes, dear. Yes.
Trying to fatten you up.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
my
she
God,
like
yeah.
half Latina, half Latina. Like I was busy in the kitchen for myself. All of a sudden, this 5'2" Latina hothead stomps in. It's like, stop taking my job from me. And she was just chasing me out of the kitchen. That is just amazing. Let me see.
Yeah.
Come on, Twitter. Load.
Well, I mean, Ryan said it. He said it a couple of months ago, I guess it was now. It's, guys have never had it so easy. I mean,
Yeah.
as far as the expectation on us and everything else, it has
Nice.
never been easier. And it's not necessarily a good thing. But I would also say to Jack, it's like, yeah, women have the power, but the thing is, they're not happy with it. They were sold a bill
Exactly.
of goods that they would be happy with it, and they're not.
Mm.
At least,
They'll still call you daddy.
oh,
Just saying.
Yep.
well,
Yeah.
and they will still, have your babies and stuff too. It's just
Oh yeah.
two of the mothers of my sons were career women with way more education than myself, although they would have never have guessed it in any of the early stages of the relationship that they had more education than I. They all assumed, just by the way I talk, I carry myself, my knowledge of things, that I was way more educated than they. And one of them has a master's degree in medieval history. Yet one of them was a corporate woman, the other one was an academic. Both of them were never so happy as when they became moms.
Mm-hmm.
That was everything they had ever wanted, even though they had no idea that is what they had wanted. And they were completely and totally, I wish I could just do this all of my days and just be a mom and be at home and love on my child and take care of my child and so on and so forth. The idea of having to go back to work sickened them. And fortunately for me, at least with my youngest, my work schedule and some of the things I do allow me to be at home to help educate him and to be a very prominent force and caregiver in his life.
They're lucky to
And,
have you as a dad.
Yeah, I am absolutely loving that. Absolutely loving that. So, it's like they were sold, the ugly women sold them all a bill of goods. They bought it hook, line, and sinker. All the good guys being good guys.
Yeah.
Going along to get along, giving them that chance. Well, mommy guilted me into voting to allow women to vote and changing the Constitution of the United States so that they could do so. Remember those women, and they've been miserable ever since. And I mean,
Imagine
and
that.
the thing is, when their Chelsea handler posting their video about how glorious their life is childless, I don't see any joy in that. I find it pathetic, and if I cared at all about her, I would almost pity her and feel sorry for her. But fortunately for me,
Yeah.
she's not my woman.
There was one funny thing about that though. When she commented back on Tucker Carlson and blah blah blah, she's like, "Apparently there was a meeting of the receding hairline." I was like, "Okay, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Gotta give her that. Gotta give the devil its due." But it's like it's the same old story every time where unsuccessful people hate unsuccessful people. Look at fucking comment. Look at Vouch, fucking fat ass. I'm sorry. You can have like 100,000 subscribers to 200,000. I don't know how much that lard ass has, but he looks fucking miserable. And all he does all day online is spout about people who have a better life than him. Oh, but you know what? The only reason you have a better life than I am is not because I'm a fucking fat ass who doesn't move or who doesn't stop eating. No, it's because they oppress people. I mean, maybe you should start oppressing people. Maybe then you'll lose the goddamn weight. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
you
it's
could
like
have
we're
pressed
all
those Girl Scout cookies or
Yeah.
something.
It's like we're all just rapidly moving to, like I was mentioning earlier, like the lowest common denominator. And something that I even pick up, it's like I watched the Shawshank Redemption fairly recently,
Mhm.
and it's interesting, like in that movie, how it's like the sign of humanity basically for these guys is these attractive posters of women that they hang up on their walls. But it's like my generation, like when I was growing up, we didn't really have that, but I remember going into my dad's shop when I was a little kid, and in the back, like where all the guys were, it was just a male space. And yeah, there was like Playboy mags, like the Playboy calendar's just up in the back. And I'm a trades guy now, and we've got none of that in our offices. I see no like posters.
Oh, the snap-on calendar girls. I remember all that.
Dude,
I was
yeah.
in the
No,
military working on aircraft. We had
Yeah.
it too.
The Netherlands banned them a couple of years ago. The
Yeah.
Netherlands banned nude calendars from car
Unbelievable.
mechanic shops.
Oh my god.
Oh my
And
God,
again,
really?
it's just like everything is just going down to the absolute minimum, the bottom. No wonder that nobody has standards for like having attractive women on screen or anything anymore. And no wonder why here in America we've got so many fatties running around everywhere. It's like there's just no standard for femininity or beauty that is actually like enforced by literally anyone. It's just love
Dude,
yourself, girl.
There are a couple of people who still enforce it, like Leo, our god in heaven, Leo.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know what? I'll just date this next 19-year-old Russian model, and people start seething, which is funny, by the way. They wanted the voting age to 16, where it's like, you know what? You can decide about politics, but when a 19-year-old decides to date a 50-year-old, all of a sudden it's like, oh no, she's a child. It's like, oh, fuck off.
Assembly women all over again. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll give you
Yeah.
a quick pop culture reference. The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, right?
Mhm.
There's a scene where the city is perpetually under siege, and there is a soldier who nobly holds off the Turkish hordes, single-handed, does these amazing feats, and this young officer is played by Sting from the band Police.
Mm-hmm.
And he's brought before the leader of the city and given this glowing report of his heroic daring do. So of course the leader of the city immediately puts him to death, because by excelling that way he makes others feel inferior around him from having done that. So of course he's immediately put to death. So a great movie, The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. So if anyone in the audience hasn't seen it, you need to check it out.
Nice.
Well, another thing I was going to say too, one more point too, before we wrap things up, because it's already been a freaking hour. It goes by so fast. That was another thing that kind of inspired this whole topic about the attractive women kind of being shoved out, because you see a lot of older women now. They're seeing the younger women as a threat, and they don't want to have to deal with that competition. So why not try to make it the normal thing, at least ingrained in people's heads now, to accept older women? And now I've seen women say, oh, I want the age of consent to be raised to 25 or something like that. I've seen even conservative women suggest that. And I'm just going, what, kind of backwards world are we getting into here whenever we're going to allow people to vote at 16 and not be able to have any relationship with them until they're 25? But it's all nonsense anyway. And what else? Yeah, and then of course they want to touch upon that with anime girls too. Of course, they don't want to have any good anime shows here because those are threatening big time.
I will
Y'all know that.
protect the waifu of my waifu with my raifu.
Perfect. Yes. Exactly. But
Perfect ending.
gosh.
I just gotta say, man,
Perfect.
Sydney Sweeney is the queen of the big-breasted blonde supremacy. I mean, Sydney, if you're listening, I'd follow you to the end. I mean, I'd vote for you. Just saying.
Yeah,
I'm available.
All right, we
We
need
got
a
to get
time.
that hashtag rolling.
We need-
Jack. Yeah.
I was going to say
Yeah.
we need to timestamp that right there, and then tag her, and then right there,
And then she'll just figure out, like, holy shit, this dandy-looking, long-haired Dutch guy with a funny accent is just my prince. That is my dream man. I want to have him as my Louis Vuitton bag, and I'll be like, carry me, baby. Just do it. I'll be there.
Carry me.
I w-
Yep.
I won't carry
exactly.
anything for you, by the way. I'm not that kind of purse. It's like, no. I'm just a show model. I just want to hang here and be pretty.
You'll be the trophy boyfriend, Jack. Yeah.
Man, I would love to get away with that. I would just love to get away. I was talking to my date about that yesterday. I'm like, I just want to stand there being pretty. Like,
Jack,
that's
you
all I
should
want to
come
do.
over here. Okay, there's a market for white boys. You would be
Oh,
surprised.
amongst women, I hope.
Yes, amongst
Okay.
women, obviously,
Oh.
because I don't like guys, so I don't know what guys like over here.
Okay, good.
But there's
I
a
think
market
like
for white boys over here.
Yeah. I was mentioning
White
before we came live, but I am heading over to Europe for the first time in a couple months here. I'm going to be
Ooh.
driving around all over the place, and I'm very excited to test the theory about like the European women versus the American women. So it'll be
I don't
interesting.
know. It's a bit of a coin flip. I mean, Dutch women on average are
Are
10
tall.
are 10 centimeters shorter than I am, yet just as heavy and or heavier. So
Mm. I really just hope like they don't even have to be like super like knockout babes. I'm just sick and tired of seeing fat people everywhere in America. It's so depressing.
yeah,
Uh,
okay, I can
I
get
know.
that.
Guys,
too.
honestly,
It gets so
white
old.
men are killing it over here, especially the military boys.
Yeah.
mm,
The ones who get shipped over to Saudi Arabia.
mm.
They have a market over here. Everybody's just pining over them.
I will have my big-breasted blonde queen. She will come.
Me
And
too.
she will reign in the supremacy. Mark my words. We will get
And with
get
that
back
said-
what we lost, Huck.
I had
But-
one of those pose in
yeah,
front
so-
of my vintage Death Star with a pillow covering discreetly her naked body post coitus, and I still have that picture. So
Amazing.
there
As
go.
you should, good sir. As you
Is it
should.
framed in your house?
memorabilia.
I would.
Memorabilia.
Yeah. So now last point, I guess now is what's everybody got going on? We'll start with Jack, go all the way down, and then we'll wrap up the show. So go ahead.
Well, I'm working on my political plans to rein in the big-breasted blonde supremacy. It is a hard job to do, but
I'm your
we're
first
getting
donor.
yes, we are getting on track. And Sydney, just call us. We'll make things happen. We'll make things happen.
Yeah.
Torsha, we will have a job for you too somewhere.
Somehow.
Fantastic. But we won't necessarily treat the brunettes unfairly. And
No,
halfway,
the brunettes will have a place in the like service industry and things like that. The
and
waitresses.
halfway will join my concubines. Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, I like my blonde. I mean, my brunette. She was
What a forward young man you are.
You will join my concubines.
You finally got the
join
phone
my
drop.
concubines.
It keeps playing over.
Doesn't
Yeah,
play-
oh,
anyway.
amazing.
Yeah, there we go. Got it.
Yeah.
It got the point 3 times. Anyway, yeah. Got it for
A
that
forward
reason.
young man you are.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
one, too.
I
but yeah,
like
well-
females with fire.
I love that. Well, going on for me, I got my own show coming up in about an hour and a half here. I'll figure out a topic or something. I don't know if anybody else wants to hop on. No, not for this
Oh, heck
week.
yeah.
No, I've been busy this week, so it's
Going
it's
back
tough
to high
schedule
school.
shit. Yeah, I know.
Thinking about all those boyfriends.
Red, I honestly wanted to join the dating show you had,
Oh
but
yeah,
I was busy burying my mom, so
yeah.
Very sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah,
My
condolences as well, of
condolences.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's it for me for today. My show, a couple hours here. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Substack. I'm gonna put out a post this weekend. Actually, kind of like a experimental one. It's gonna be interesting. I was drunk when I wrote most of it, so it'll be fun. But Robert, on to you.
All right, Robert Kuzlin on Twitter and Instagram, and also Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on the Masculine Geek. Either playing one of two different Dungeons and Dragon games, one DM by Drew Bay, the other DM by Rollo Tomasi, which I believe is the game this next Wednesday. and also here on YouTube. And hopefully you'll be seeing me doing something a little bit more regularly on YouTube. And if so, you'll definitely be seeing these guys as a part of it, coming and going as their schedules allow. So keep an eye out for that. Also, you never know when you'll catch me popping up with a pirate show, playing some old vinyl or radio show or something like that, and talking about it or movies or something. So that's where you can find me up until I travel to the Middle East and do an epic Crusader versus Saracen photo shoot with my best bud over here. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you need to let me know before you come, because honestly, they don't sell the armors over here, so I need to find somebody who can make it, or like I make it my own self. If I want to make it, I don't know. I've never made a costume myself, so or just look it up online and have it shipped over here. But I do
work
have the
something
sword.
out before the trip. Don't worry. Don't worry.
But
my
I do
friend.
have the sword, so like I have a golden plated sword that was given to my dad as a as a gift from one the who's now the king of Saudi Arabia. He gave it to him as a gift.
That is
Wow.
absolutely
Damn.
epic and awesome.
Yeah. So for me, I have basically nothing going on except shit posting. I probably should go back to writing, but every time I write, I'm like, is it worth it to write something? These fuckers will just keep fucking, Yeah. I could write about dating, online dating, life, work, but I don't know. Maybe someday when I have some time on my Substack. Other than that, yeah, Chad of Arabia on Twitter. Follow me for shit posting and exposing grifters and getting people banned for shits and giggles.
Yeah, guys, definitely follow our friend here. His shit posting is top tier and is just an absolute joy to follow on Twitter for sure.
Yeah, I have enjoyed it very much, a lot.
Yes, I feel very spoiled on other forms of social media when I don't get quite the same as him and Ryan and Jack, which you say sometimes too, and all you guys really. Some of the stuff y'all say is just great. I can't get it anywhere else.
Big-breasted blonde supremacy.
Right.
You don't see it, but I have my hand raised.
Woo!
Yeah.
Bro,
Me too.
Open palm.
And with that, let's get the heck out of here.